Mael is, he's a little bit broken. He's a little bit strong. I mean, it makes sense when you think about everything that has been previously established throughout Taizai. I mean, when we think about Escanor and his ability Sunshine, it's very apparent that that grace is just OP. And we've heard stories of Mael and then finally getting the reveal of who Mael really is. I mean, it's to be expected that he would be strong, he would be OP, but holy crap, there's just so many questions I have now about Mael's strength because of what he demonstrated throughout this chapter. So let's get right into that before I talk about designs and stuff and all the other main important meat of the chapter. Mael's strength right now, it's very apparent that his base strength is very, very high. Like, if he had Sunshine right now, he would be nigh unstoppable. Like, we have our in-game villain. That's pretty much what it looks like. Unless, Rudisil becomes the in-game villain, or, the Supreme Goddess, or the Demon King. But that's another, topic for another day. The point is, right now, is that Mael, he is showcasing that he's going to need a lot of people to bring him down. Like, for instance, 2 Archangels are going up against him with Gauther and King fighting him. That's 4 people. Now, obviously, King and Gauther, they're probably not on the level of, the Archangels, but they're pretty strong nonetheless. And Gauther, with his abilities, that's a whole other can of worms. He's incredibly broken because of what we've seen from Gauther's abilities, his tool set and all that, his skill set. He can definitely mess with someone that's even stronger than him. I mean, look what happened to Demon King. So, that's another topic, too, for another day. The point is, though, is that Mael right now, he was whooping around King and Gauther like it's nothing. And in the grand scheme of things, that really isn't that impressive. But the point is that this man whipping them like they're nothing. And, we already saw how Estarossa was putting up a decent fight against Sarantar, okay? He was putting up a decent fight. Even though he was obviously getting, destroyed, he was still holding back against him, being able to stand back up and fight. And now that he's gained back his memories, he is now his original self, Mael, he is now demonstrating this savagery that, we really haven't seen before. His fighting style is slightly changed a little bit, but at the same time, he still is the same old Estarossa, which, let's get into that. See, Estarossa, as a character, he no longer exists, but in a way, he's still around. And what I mean by that is that with Mael waking up, he's still technically kind of the same dude. Except all of his memories were swapped. Everything. Rudisil, Meliodas back to Rudisil, Elizabeth and all that. It's just like everything got swapped, okay? Instead of, being on, the goddess, side and, hating demons, he became, a demon and he hated all the goddesses. So basically, just his perspective swapped places. And for the most part, his personality didn't change that much. I mean, it was a little bit altered, but overall, he was effectively the same person. And so, when you think about it, what's going on right now is that he's so confused. His mind is in tatters because he has got to live both sides. He has seen how both sides are, how the Goddess Clan is, how the Demon Clan is. And he's kind of off his rockers, obviously. And he's very angry, extremely, extremely angry. And now that he's got his mind back, he's able to access his goddess powers, which many might be questioning, like, okay, fine, he's Mael again, he's awakened back again, like he's back to his old self. How is he able to control the commandments? I know many are probably asking that question throughout this chapter when you're reading it, and it's a pretty easy one to explain. Number one, archangels, they're not affected by commandments. That's number one thing. So him showing hatred towards Gauther and all that makes sense why he doesn't, have the commandment affecting him, is because he's an archangel, Goddess Clan member. Number two, on top of that as well, we also have to remember that he is the strongest of the archangels. And that would mean that his base level strength is way above Sarantar and Rudisil. That means he would just destroy people like nothing. Okay, that's another thing. Now, obviously, he might not be at the level of, like, multiple commandments, like maybe might not be able to take down a commandment, or maybe he can take down a commandment in 1v1, but he's not as strong, if he doesn't have his grace. But the point of this is that Mael, he's incredibly strong. He has a great base power level. He also is someone that is relatively kind of the same dude, but a little bit altered. He's a little bit off his rockers, but also the reason why he's able to control the commandments without any issues is also because his power reawakened, which many might not remember what I'm about to say, so I want to kind of get you up to speed. If you remember, when the series started off, Elizabeth, as a character, she was incredibly weak. She couldn't really do much whatsoever. She was a damsel in distress multiple times throughout Taizai, at least for the first major arc. And eventually, she, got her goddess abilities. They slowly started to, awaken, and she got stronger and stronger as time went on, and to the point where she's at right now, to where she legit was able to just, destroy Estarossa like it was nothing, like pushing him back, hurting demons like it was nothing. Elizabeth obviously is not weak by any means. I mean, she was even standing up to the Demon King and the Supreme Goddess. So, Elizabeth, her strength is ridiculous. We don't really know where she's at on the power scaling of the series. That still has yet to be established. But the point about this is, what makes it relevant, is that you remember Elizabeth, she was incredibly weak. And then when she, had her abilities come back again, she was very strong. And that's pretty much what just happened to Mael, or Estarossa. With him reawakening and remembering everything and gaining back access to his goddess-like abilities, effectively, he has gotten a lot stronger. It's a power-up. So, he now has his goddess abilities with the commandment power-up, like all the commandments he has within him, the power-up to that. So, his base strength is way higher than what it normally was. And effectively, if we had to assume anything, right now where Mel's power is probably around when he had his grace. When he had probably Sunshine, or he might be even a little bit stronger to when he had Sunshine, because he has his base level. Then he has multiple commandments within him, and I mean, we have this mix going on which could cause a chain reaction, and everything he's learned with fighting the Goddess Clan and the Demon Clan, this man most likely has a lot of battle experience. So, when you think about it, he's probably a lot stronger than he was in the past, and that he would definitely be an incredible challenge for even someone like Meliodas to take down, which is another thing to throw into as well. Escanor and Meliodas. As we know, their fight, it was one of the highlights of the series, and it effectively let us know where Escanor's power was alongside of Assault Mode Meliodas. And as a fan of Escanor and Meliodas, but a big fan of Escanor, I downright stated it's very apparent that Meliodas would win at any other time in the day. For instance, Assault Mode Meliodas would probably kick the crap out of Escanor like it's nothing if it wasn't high noon. If it's high noon and Escanor reaches the 1 mode, Meliodas, he's done. He can't do anything. And it demonstrated that they are very strong. In terms of base level and power in like a regular fight, Meliodas is stronger. But if it's the proper conditions, Escanor will whoop Meliodas like it's nothing. And so when you think about it like that, we got to see how strong these two were, and how they're roughly equals, even though Escanor did win in the end. But now let's think about, Mael, okay, and his base level. He has his base power, which is of a Goddess Clan. Obviously, he's not going to be as weak as Escanor, because Escanor reverts back to his normal human form at night, and if we go by that, that would mean that base strength, Mael at night would be a lot stronger than base strength Escanor at night. And then throw on top of his base strength in the day, on top of Sunshine being with him, he would be way stronger than Escanor ever was, unless Escanor is just way above Meliodas at that moment, or Mael in the past, because, I mean, it was stated that they were equals. And for Escanor to be able to take Meliodas down, that would mean that he definitely was a lot stronger than maybe old Mael. But that needs to be explained. But the big point here, though, is that right now, looking at the situation, if Mael gets Sunshine, it's GG. Like, nobody's really going to be able to stand up to the man, because multiple commandments, Sunshine if he gets it, having a mix of goddess and demon-like powers within him, insane regeneration, the man's gonna be insane. So, yeah, I truly believe that, Even Meliodas, with half strength might not be enough to bring down Mel. Like, all the commandments that he's absorbing within him. Which, that is another thing to talk about. It's very apparent that what Nakaba-sensei is trying to do with this chapter, besides the fight going on with Galther, King, and Sarantar, is that he's setting up a rematch for Meliodas versus Mel. Like, it's setting up a rematch. For instance, you know how Escanor and Meliodas was? Well, it's effectively going to be a rematch, but instead of Escanor, it's going to be Mel versus Meliodas, which that will be ridiculous in the terms of their power, their strength, because of what their power-ups they've gotten. For instance, Meliodas, with his commandments, to, what, Mel has now within him, it's going to be ridiculous. But also, it's not just that that's being set up. It's also, there's a setup, a rematch for Mel versus Escanor, because I highly doubt Mel is going to forgive what Escanor did to him, okay? Let's face the cold, hard facts. That's not something you're going to forget about, especially when you're beat by your own grace. I don't think Mel is going to let that go. He is definitely someone that is incredibly angry, incredibly petty, that we've seen many times, savage, so I definitely see him going out of his way to get rid of Escanor, because he knows how his grace works. He knows how Sunshine works, and if it does work in a similar way with Archangels or Goddess Clan members, then he knows when to strike Escanor, and he's probably going to do something like that. Who knows, maybe the foreshadowing of Estarossa taking down Mel was actually Mel taking down Escanor. Think about it like that. That'd be some extreme foreshadowing by Nakaba-sensei if something like that indeed happens. But okay, anyways, let's talk about the main content within the chapter. I think I've kept you waiting long enough. So, Galther, he's like, I understand. You've been through a lot these past 3,000 years. You could take your aggression, your anger out on me. If you want to end my life, do so. And it makes a lot of sense. Galther is very aware of what he has done, what his OG self has done as well. He's very aware of what happened to Mel was beyond messed up. No man deserved to go through that whatsoever. Nobody should have to go through 3,000 years of being trapped within your own body. And he's like, take your aggression on me, I understand. And eventually, King pops up and defends Galther, which many might say, like, okay, makes sense, King's gonna dive in and protect Galther. But at the same time, you gotta think about the context of it and what makes that scene so powerful for King to, pop up and save Galther. Galther and King don't really have a good relationship whatsoever, okay? I mean, think about what Galther did to Diane, and what King had to go through all those times, and then what he had to see and all that. It's very apparent that, King doesn't think too highly of Galther. He doesn't like the man. He hates the man. Very similar to how he felt about Bond at the beginning of the series when he hated Bond for what happened to his sister. And so, when you look at that situation, seeing King just dive in and protect Galther, it speaks a lot. That King, he's not being petty. He is, wanting to forgive the man. He wants to take a step forward and, forgive Galther. And he doesn't want to see a man that he's fought alongside for a very long time just die in front of him for the sake of everyone else. He just doesn't want that, selfless death. So I appreciate what King did in this chapter and him protecting Galther. It shows that he has matured a lot, and he's definitely, showcasing that he's going to become a proper king for the fairies as the series continues on. Now also, I especially love when Mel grabs the Spear of Judgment, or like the spear or whatever from, King's ability, when he grabs it with one hand and holds it in place. That is pretty freaking amazing. Like, holy crap, that looked awesome. Like, that is honestly one of the best panels of the chapter. Then, on top of that as well, seeing Sarantar jump in, which makes me love their characters even more than I already did. I've talked about them many times already in the past, that Sarantar as Archangels or Goddess Clan members, they're completely different from what we have seen. I mean, when we think about Rudisill and now Mel, I mean, even though Mel was forced into the situation to be Estarossa, he still effectively wasn't that good of a dude. I mean, he was called the quote-unquote Angel of Death. So, if you're given a title like that, you're not probably going to be a good guy by any means. You're probably a straight-up savage. So, yeah, Sarantar, they're completely different from what we've seen. They're very nice individuals. They obviously aren't as they don't hold as much hatred towards the Demon Clan as other, goddesses, because when you think about what they have done, I mean, they've worked with Derriere, they didn't really put up that much of a resistance. They have also followed through with what Elizabeth wanted and helped out Meliodas and Mon and all that, and Derriere. So, I mean, when you think about what they have done already, they're not that bad of people whatsoever. They truly are stand-up Goddess Clan members that I love, and seeing them go out of their way to fight against Mel, which is their brother and someone that they care about their brother, seeing them standing up to Mel to save him in a way is very cool, and I just like that about their characters, and I'm just really happy with how Nakaba Sensei has written them. I want more of them, I really do. But let's get into the situation with Mel, what's going on with his body. So his body is breaking down, or he's becoming corrupted, and as I've said many times, I love the Fallen Angel look. It's one of my favorite themes in any piece of literature. I've always loved it. It's one of the big reasons why I love Sephiroth so much from Final Fantasy VII. I love the one-winged angel look. And seeing how Mel has, like, half regular goddess wings and then solid black, like, demonic-looking wings, I find that cool. And honestly, Nakaba Sensei, you're going to be missing out. It's a wasted opportunity if you do not make Mel's wings look like some form of, like, demonic bat-looking wings. It would be a wasted opportunity. I really hope that Nakaba Sensei goes in on, Mel's design, because it could be so cool if he is going to become the final boss. But that's about it. That's my thoughts on this week's chapter of Taizai. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. If you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.